You're watching Let the Quran Speak. Now we answer questions we've received from you, our viewers. If you have a question yourself, do visit our website, www.quranspeaks.com, and submit your questions to us there. Okay, Brother Shabir, here's a question. I've heard that Islam teaches disbelievers are condemned to hell, but at the same time it teaches that God is just, merciful, and loving. Islam arising in 7th century Arabia would not have been known to the inhabitants of North and South America, Australia, and many of the Pacific Islands and Arctic regions of the world for centuries. So what does this mean for generations upon generations of people who lived and died not believing or perhaps even knowing about Islam?
In traditional Islamic discussions about things like this, sometimes the theologians resorted to the idea that on the day of judgment, people who did not hear the message of God in this life will be given a kind of ultimate test. And if they pass that test, then they prove themselves to be of the good people, they enter paradise, and if they fail, then they prove themselves to be of the bad, they enter hell. But that answer seems to be too simplistic. And though it is based on a hadith, the hadith itself may have been generated by people who came up with that answer, and then they attributed that to the Prophet, peace be upon him. Now, thinking more systematically about the question and the realities of what we face, as described in the question, we must have a more comprehensive answer. And the more comprehensive answer would be based on the very idea that God is merciful and just and kind, and He will not hold people responsible for what they could not have been capable of. And the Quran makes this statement again and again. He does not burden people with more than they are capable of. Moreover, the Quran says that God does not punish people until He sends a messenger. This was specifically mentioned in the 17th chapter of the Quran. So we should say then that when the message of God reaches people with a certain degree of clarity and persuasiveness, and people turn away from that message, that is when they're held accountable. God is going to ask them, why I sent you this message, why didn't you respond? Because it was so clear and so persuasive, and yet you didn't respond. That proves that you're bad, and therefore I'm going to treat you as one of the bad persons. Here is your penalty. And then everything is seen to be fair. But in the case of people who did not receive that message, they are going to be judged by the options that were available to them. And now, every person has a certain range of options, and not everybody has the same range of options. Let's say somebody was born in a Muslim family, in a very strict Muslim upbringing. Well, then, most likely that person will be a Muslim. Let's say another person was born far away from contact with Muslims, and born in, let's say, a strict religious family of another faith. Well, then, most likely that person will be of another religion. You cannot just simply blame the person for being that, because even the hadith says that people are born on the fitra, on the natural predisposition to worship God, but then their parents make them belong to some other religion, usually the religion of the parents.
And most people don't really think critically about religious issues or about big questions. They pretty much just go about their life and follow what they've learned or what they know of this in the society around them.
Yes. So it seems to me that even such people, non-Muslims, do have a certain range of options open before them, and within that range they can recognize certain good things and bad things based on the same inner conscience that God has created in all of us. So based on that conscientious guidance, they would now be picking the good things or choosing the bad things. If they generally tend to pick the good things within their range of options, then this is a good person. And God will treat this person as a good person because this person generally picks the good things within that person's range. But we shouldn't expect that the person should be picking the things which are the good things in our own range. Because to make it more clear, let's say somebody is a child of a great imam of the Muslim community. We expect this child to do good things that represent the fact that this child is like a child in the house of an imam, right? But let's say another child is born to alcoholic parents. Well, then this child, you don't expect this child to act like the child of an imam. So it's a different range of options, but within this child's range of options, you can expect certain basic human responses from this child, certain things like kindness and goodness, even if it turns out that this child is an alcoholic as well, maybe suffering from fetal alcoholic syndrome. We don't know. But this child can still do good things and is based on these good things. that the child would be considered good by God. And of course,
so what you're
growing
saying
up
is that
to be
God
an
judges
adult.
us on different standards based on where we come from and what we have within us.
Yes, based on the circumstances that the individual is in, the level of knowledge and understanding that could have been open to this individual. I'm not saying that ignorance is an excuse. I'm saying that there's a certain expectation of each individual based on their circumstances, how much they could have known and should have tried to know. And not everybody has the same expectations, or the same expectation is not of each and every individual.
All right, thank you for that, Brother Shabir.
You're
We'll
welcome.
have to end it there. That's all the time we have. Visit our website, www.QuranSpeaks.com, and check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/QuranSpeaks. As always, please continue to write to us. Your comments and questions help guide the show. I'm Sophia Ali for all of us here at Let the Quran Speak. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.